Good morning, you're welcome to the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. My name is Reme Paulson. How are you doing this morning? It's Monday the 19th of May 2025, and in fact it is known as World Family Doctor Day, and obviously this is just to highlight the importance of family doctors in global healthcare and what they do. And also today is hepatitis testing day. So obviously hepatitis is the inflammation of your liver, and this day is just to show you the importance of getting tested so that you don't have those complications, because hepatitis could lead to health complications including liver cancer. So if you haven't been tested for hepatitis before, please, it's important that you do. It's important that you take good care of yourself, and your health is at the top, because they say health is wealth. So if you haven't been tested, please get tested, and also show love to all the family doctors around the world. All right, on today's breakfast show, we'll be looking at several hot topics, one of which is Serap demands Nnpcl account for missing 500 billion naira oil funds. Much later in the show, we'll be discussing the fact that reps are divided over bill to make voting mandatory in Nigeria. We'll also be taking global stories that made it to the front pages of our national dailies, as well as some top trending stories. And moving over to our top trending stories this morning. And now the first top trending story says 33 states and FCT repay 1.85 trillion naira in domestic debt, says the federal government. The federal government has revealed that 33 states and the Federal Capital Territory collectively repaid 1.85 trillion naira in domestic debt between June 2023 and December 2024. According to the National Orientation Agency, this reduction was made possible by improved revenues resulting from fuel subsidy removal and naira flotation under the Tinubu administration. States such as Delta, Lagos, Imo, Cross River, Ogun led in debt repayment, with Delta alone paying about 265.83 billion naira. However, states like Niger, Enugu, and others have increased their debt profile during the same periods, with Rivers accumulating an additional 138.89 trillion. On the federal level, Nigeria has cleared about $3.264 billion debt to the IMF in less than 2 years, among other repayments including 22 trillion naira in ways and means and 5.87 trillion in domestic obligations. Overall, the nation's public debt stock dropped from $113.42 billion in June 2023 to $94.22 billion in December 2024. So obviously that's just telling us about our debt profile, and most states are beginning to repay their debts. Now, does it mean that we're making more revenue? What's going on? Those are the questions that are being asked, because if we have more money and we're being able to pay our debts, maybe the economy is getting better. And I think that's what everybody would hope for, right? So I think at the end of the day, if we can pay off our debts, if we can ensure that the economy is better for the people and it starts to translate into the daily lives of the people, that is what we would love to see. So seeing states like Delta, seeing states like Ogun, seeing states like Lagos having to repay their debt, because I'm sure a lot of people do not even understand what it is when the government takes certain loans or when they're owing so many debts. Sometimes it could be for infrastructure, it could be to, just enhance certain things and to ensure that the people can have certain amenities. But one thing that we've always said over time is we never really see what they use these loans for. And most times we just keep plunging into it, because from one loan we take another and another, and it's just a rabbit hole that we dive right into. And sometimes we're even using one loan to pay another. So it never makes sense. And because we're so much of an importing nation, we do not have, a lot of money or a lot of revenue coming in. The only revenue that we can really ascertain for is the crude oil that we sell. But it's been said that even the crude oil has been mortgaged to, I think, 2027 or so. So we don't know how much we make per se. And that's why in our hot topic this morning, we'll be talking about the fact that Serap has demanded that the Nnpcl account for a missing 500 billion naira for $500 billion for crude. So with all of this, I think seeing the fact that we are starting to repay our debts, I don't know if where that money is coming from, if it's from crude or whatnot, but if we can start to repay our debts, let's just find ways to maybe help the people, empower the people, grow our economy, and that way we can start to see it in our own daily lives. But first things first, we're paying our debt, so great news. Hopefully it stays like that. We make more money, that we'll just, get to see that Nigeria is flourishing, Nigeria is better. Another top trending story this morning says Lagos building collapse. 3 rescued as search continues for trapped victims. Rescue efforts continued through the night after a building collapsed in Lagos on Saturday, leaving several people trapped. Emergency responders from the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Services confirmed that 3 individuals were pulled out alive from the rubble. Public Relations Officer of the service, Shakiru Amodu, stated that 1 male adult was rescued while efforts were ongoing to save others still believed to be trapped. The identities of the rescued victims have not yet been disclosed, and as of Sunday morning, rescue operations remain active with teams working against time to locate survivors. The cause of the collapse is yet to be officially determined, while residents and emergency agencies maintain a strong presence at the site. First, we just hope that everybody can get out alive from this. But building collapse, that's something that we keep saying all the time in Nigeria. And, you wonder, why does this keep happening? Because it's not the first, it's not the second, it's not the third. I mean, we heard of the one that happened, in Ikoyi. On the Gerard Road and whatnot, and that was like the very high profile one, because you see that these developers are asking people for so much money to buy the properties, so people actually pay a lot of money, and then you wonder, if we're paying so much money, why are substandard products being used to make these houses, to make these homes? And the real estate in Nigeria is something I can never wrap my head around, because we pay so much more for less. If you go to the UK, no, let's even leave the UK. I would say the infrastructure there can be a bit, old. But if you go to the US or if you go to Canada, right, and you use the same amount, you're getting better value for your money when it comes to housing. But in Nigeria, most times they're just selling maybe the area to tell you that, Ikoyi is for the rich people, or Lekki is for a certain select group, and then you buy it based on that. You're not even buying these properties or tapping into these properties because of maybe the amenities that you get, maybe the fact that it's close to a train station, maybe the fact that it's in the city center. I mean, abroad, that's what they use to sell these homes. The fact that it's you make it an ecosystem for yourself. That's the reason why you want to plug in to that kind of real estate. But in Nigeria, they'll tell you that, one big man lives across the corner. And sometimes I'm wondering, if a big man is living across me from the street, is he going to give me money, or what's going to happen? How am I going to get money? But the crux of the matter here is the fact that they use substandard products to make these buildings, and maybe they do not even have the right permits. And before you know it, you hear of a building collapse. Why would you put someone's life at stake at such a huge risk just because you want to make money that you're still getting at the end of the day, when you can just build this home in a standard way, in a good way, that would last for years. In the past, most of the homes, they used to last for years. But now it just seems like every building is collapsing. And like I said, I hope that everybody gets out of this alive. But I think this is where Lagos state government, and other state governments too, because I don't think, this collapse only happens in Lagos. But this is where they need to ensure that whatever rules, whatever permits, whatever regulation they're, putting out there, is important that everybody meets the requirements. Because the truth is, every citizen's life matters. So we cannot, overlook some just because somebody's, greasing the palms of these officials and say, just look the other way and let me be able to build whatever I want to, even though I'm using substandard products. This is where Lagos state government needs to really, really sit up, because we cannot keep having building collapses every now and again, and people's lives are at risk here. So, but with this case, we just hope that everybody comes out alive. And I mean, it's a developing story. People are still there, on site. Officials are there on site to ensure that they can bring out everybody. But we will see what happens with this, and hopefully everybody is okay. All right, another top trending story this morning says 13,700 teachers sit for May professional qualification exam nationwide. About 13,700 teachers across Nigeria participated in the May edition of Teachers Professional Qualifying Examination and a mandatory assessment for licensing educators. The TRCN acting registrar, Nwokocha, disclosed this while monitoring the exercise at the National Open CBT Examination Center in Abuja, noting reports from other states show that exams went smoothly, though dates were adjusted in Lagos and the South is due to the rescheduling of UTME. Chairman of the TRCN Governing Board, Dr. Saliu Mustafa, described the PQE as vital for sanitizing the teaching profession. He emphasized the government's push for technology-driven teacher verification, allowing parents to confirm a teacher's qualification through an online TRCN database, a move expected to improve accountability and quality in schools, especially in the private sector. TRCN officials confirmed that the PQE results will be released within a week, following collation and approval of the performance benchmark. The representative of the Minister of Education, Ismaila Adiatu, also praised the Each Free exercise, reinforcing the ministry's commitment to ensuring only qualified teachers remain in classrooms nationwide. Fantastic news. Reforms. I think this is one reform that I love, because something that we've always spoken about is, that we're even passionate about, is our educational system in Nigeria. And, one question that's always been raised up from there is, what's the curriculum like? What's the confidence that we have in the teachers to know that they can even be able to give you the quality education that you need, be able to transmit all they know, be able to transfer those knowledge to the students. And if the qualification of the teacher isn't great, because the truth is you cannot pour from an empty cup. If you do not know something, how are you going to give it out? It's always going to be garbage in, garbage out. So if our teachers are not well qualified, then I'm sorry, the students also are not going to be qualified, because like I said, garbage in, garbage out. So it's important that they go through this qualification. And I don't even think it should be a one-time thing. I think regularly, because abroad, you see teachers, they tell you, oh, I'm going for this certification, I'm going for that certification. Even in Nigeria, there are different certifications that people go for in different sectors. So why don't we do that in the educational sector as well? Ensuring that these teachers are professional, as they say they are. So it's not just saying, I graduated with I have an NC in 1988, and that means I know everything. Times have changed, the curriculums have changed, and you have to move along with the tide. So it's important that these teachers, at every given point in time, I don't know if it's going to be every year, every 2 years, every 5 years, it should be like a refresher course whereby you are just gaining more knowledge so that you can actually have more to give to the students. So with this, that is a fantastic reform. I absolutely love it. But one other thing I really love as well is the fact that you can, go online and see the qualification of these teachers to ensure that your child is in great hands. Your child is learning from the best. So go online, you check it out, and you're like, okay, yes, I'm comfortable with this, or no, I'm not comfortable with this. And I think something else that can be added is rating system, being able to rate these teachers, and that, okay, this person has a 5-star, fantastic. They've been able to, imbibe a lot into children, and these parents are obviously comfortable, and they give them the star rating that they deserve. And if they can even have like an award system whereby these teachers want to be better. They want to be better because they know that there is something at stake. It is a career path, and sometimes, sadly, it's a career path that a lot of people do not even put their attention to. But if we can promote this, why not? Great idea, fantastic. And we hope that it's something that they would keep doing and not just a one-time thing. All right, our final top trending story this morning says Nigerians urge creation of local social media platforms amid Meta exit threats. Amid Meta's warning to shut down Facebook and Instagram services in Nigeria, many citizens are calling for the development of indigenous social media platforms. In interviews with the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, users expressed concerns over Nigeria's heavy reliance on foreign-owned platforms and advocate for local alternatives to strengthen data protection, promote nation innovation, and ensure better regulation of online content. Meta's threat follows a $220 million fine imposed by the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Tribunal for repeated violations of Nigeria's competition and data protection laws. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, accused Meta of unauthorized data sharing, unfair treatment of Nigerian users, and abuse of its dominant market position. Meta claimed it may shut down its services in Nigeria to avoid further enforcement actions. In response, the FCCPC dismissed the shutdown threat as an attempt to manipulate public sentiment and avoid accountability. The commission emphasized that Meta must comply with Nigerian laws and that the penalty stands. Meanwhile, citizens say the situation presents an opportunity for Nigeria to invest in homegrown platforms similar to those in China and Russia that can protect user data and drive the country's tech development. Honestly, I think this is something that we definitely need to think about. We have so many brilliant minds in Nigeria. There's so many smart people. There's so many creative people, so many innovative people. And whether Meta is going to stay here or not, why can't we have our own and export it? I'm always big on, exporting our creativity, exporting whatever we can to ensure that we get to generate revenue. So why can't we do that? And the truth is, Meta has to be accountable. In as much as sometimes we come here to berate the government and say they're not doing their job, but if you see that they're putting laws and regulations for your own benefit, then definitely they're doing something right. And Meta cannot come here and tell us what to do or start to share our own information, start to share our data, because there's a thing called data mining. And sometimes with all of these platforms, they do that. So if you come to a country and they've told you that these are our own laws and regulations, then you have to comply with it. So if Nigeria is saying you cannot do certain things, then you just have to ensure that you comply with their own regulations, not saying that, no, we're going to leave. You cannot threaten us that you're going to leave because you do not want to do what is right, because you do not want to be accountable. And honestly, users have come out to say that we can use this opportunity because we have the numbers. Let's be honest, the most populous black nation with over 200 million people. And if we have it, it doesn't even have to stay in Nigeria alone. There's so many other African countries that we can export this to. Why can't we have our own? That's the question. Why can't we do what other countries are doing? China has been able to do it. Russia has been able to do it. America has theirs, and then they come to different countries and try to tell you what you should do or what they would like to do in your country, which is a no-no. So if Meta is threatening to shut down, fine, I'm sure a lot of people who make money off social media, and we're talking Facebook, Instagram, Threads and whatnot, fine, I know some people might not be happy about it, especially if it's a means of their livelihood. But sometimes, you just have to take the bull by the horn. And if there's another opportunity, why not? But in my own thinking, I don't think they might just want to leave, especially if they know that they're making a lot from here. If the benefit, if the value that they get from here supersedes that $220 million fine, of course, they would want to stay. But it might just be, trying to call our bluff to say, you know what? We're going to leave because you've slammed us with this fine, and that way maybe we can be threatened and say, oh, no, do not leave them, we need you. But no, I don't think that's the case. If they're not doing what is right, it is what it is. Accountability is everything, and they have to stick with our own laws, point blank, period. All right, that's it for our top trending stories. We'll go on a short break now. When we return, we'll be reviewing the papers, so please stay with us.